and bands like Sleater Kinney, girls that are, especially now that I'm in the industry and there can be things that are a bit scary, and I feel like I always have to fight for my independence and to be the person I want to be, and not to be scared of that as well. So they're like my heroes in that they did that, and their music career was like based on who they are. So I find that really inspiring that you can be yourself, and then I have a lot of really great friends. I'm really lucky that I have loads of friends who I love. My family, my mum is really smart and always taught me to be open-minded and liberal and political and unbiased, so she's a hero as well.
Tell me about some of the challenges as a young artist and what you've experienced, you know, as your career has evolved.
The challenges. I think touring is the best, and it can also be really damaging. Like, I love touring, but it can be so exhausting, and after you've been on the road for like a year and a half, I think it's important to know when to say no and to stop and take time out, because people in the industry will just keep like whipping you and like getting you to do everything. If you just keep saying yes, they'll keep asking you stuff. So I was like, after my first record, and I was sick of playing live, and I didn't find it fun anymore, which was really sad, because then I became really confused, and I was like, this is something I'm supposed to love, and now I hate it, and I don't know what I love anymore, which is really heartbreaking. So I said no. I went home, and I just did really mundane things, like I passed my driving test, and I moved into a flat, and my boyfriend bought me a bunny rabbit, and that made me find love for music again, because I was just chilling at home and watching TV and being bored and having nothing to do. I find really inspiring. It's like, and other challenges, I think, people that you meet, you have to have your guard up to a certain extent, because there are some really horrible people in the music industry. Like, I think I've met some of the worst people in the world in the music industry, and I've also met some of the best people in the world. So it's important to have your guard up and protect yourself, but also not to become like this horrible guarded person who hates everybody. And trying to find that balance is hard.
What advice do you have to give to young students about finding their way in music and maybe exploring different careers as an artist and then the other careers there are out there?
I think, what advice? I think just knowing that these opportunities exist, just knowing that there are so many careers out there that, even I don't even know. Sometimes you hear about someone's job and you're like, you can have that as a job, that's amazing. So if you think there's something that you really like or that you're interested in, then you should pursue it, because there's the likelihood is there'll be a way of you making a career out of that. And I think there's a lot of cynicism. People, especially when it comes to creativity, people are like, it's never going to happen, don't bother doing it, it's a waste of time, get serious, be academic. And like, if that makes you really unhappy, and if you're not academic, then that's just going to mean you have a really unhappy life. I would say just create, for me it was all about DIY, like doing it yourself, and there was a lot of people in London in 2006 when I started that were starting their own nights, running their own record labels. They were promoters, they were DJs, they were like artists, they had a band, they had 3 bands, people were doing, and they were meeting other people in London who were doing the same things, and then creating really exciting environments and really exciting projects and nights to go to. And so just find people that you like, that you're interested in, that are similar to you, that have the same interests and beliefs, and then hang out and figure out what you want to achieve and what you want to create. And then all of the other crap will come to you. Like, people in the suits, like, who actually put the money into like careers, will come and find it, because they'll be like, oh, this is cool and hip. Like, what are the kids doing today? And so you make it happen and they come to you. Don't think you have to go and impress somebody else. You'll impress them by being this independent, driven, like creative, new person. They'll be like drawn to that.
Do you think nowadays students have an easier time because of the internet, just pursuing their entrepreneurial passions?
I think there's a lot that it means you can have independence. I know people that release records and they don't have record labels. You have access to like the world. I remember things that really threw me when I first started a MySpace page. I mean, I don't know if MySpace is the thing now. I don't know, I can't keep up, but people would be messaging me from Japan and Canada and Brazil and places I'd never been, and they were fans of my music already, and that was really incredible. So I think that if you use it to your advantage, don't kind of worry, don't get swallowed by it, because it's so big, and I kind of hate the internet sometimes. But use it as a tool that works for you, you know? It's a way of creating like your persona, taking control of your fans. And I always think now it's a really powerful position to be in if you have a communication with fans online, like thousands of fans online, and then if you get dropped by a label, if the media decide that they suddenly hate you and want you to die, then you have like fans who love and care about you, and you can communicate with them, and you can take control of your career, and it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks.
Tell us a little bit about the music that inspires you and what you started listening to early on in your career and what you're listening to now.
Well, I remember when I was really little, I really liked Harry Nilsson, which sounds really funny, but my mum had this Harry Nilsson CD, and I loved the Puppy song, and I loved I Can't Live If Living Is Without You. And I also really liked Ace of Base, and I think I had like a Will Smith tape. And I listened to a lot of pop music, and my mum and dad played records, like they played the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and Carole King and Janis Joplin, and lots of Motown and girl groups. I love the Supremes. So I grew up around lots of interesting stuff, and my mum's Irish, so there was like folk music around, and Cat Stevens. And then when my older sister was into like garage music and R&B, and she was the cool one, so I kind of listened to that for quite a few years. And then when I was 16, I discovered punk music, and I think I bought I was working in this really horrible shop. It's called River Island, and I don't think it's over here, but
what did they sell?
They just sell clothes, but they sell clothes that are normal clothes, and then they just add stupid stuff to it, like some rags on the sleeve, and then they like dye it different colours and rip it, and it just looks horrible. And the people there are really angry with you as well, because like the managers there kind of want you to be in it for life as well, and if you don't want to pursue a career at River Island, then they really hate you for not wanting to like see it through for the next 30 years. And I remember having a meeting once about hangers, there was 3 coat hangers left over in the dressing room after I'd been on like the changing room duty, and she was like, "Why is there 3 hangers left over?" We need to have a meeting about this. Can we just talk about it now? No, okay. Really uninspiring, horrible place. And but it was in like a shopping mall, and I went to a music shop, and I picked up a Buzzcocks CD, and I listened to it when I got home, and then I was just like, oh my god, I only want to listen to this over and over and over. And then I listened to the Sex Pistols over and over and over, and they were the only 2 punk bands that I knew existed. And I went to this market in East London, which is a really cool market. Every day it has different stuff going on, and this one, I think it's like on a Wednesday, they have like loads of old guys selling all their old records and stuff. And I went to this guy and I was like, I know I really like punk music, but I just don't know any bands. So can you help me find some bands that I like? And then he ended up giving me loads of records, and I discovered then the Riot Girl scene and 90s bands like Bikini Kill and Sleep Killing and Hens Betsy, and I mean, I love finding new bands that I really like. I love new music. There's a girl, like I love supporting new artists, a band called Super Cute from New York, a girl called Brigitte Aphrodite from the UK, and yeah, I'm I can't remember what I was supposed to be talking about. I'm just like,
well, how did you find your own sound after listening to all this music? What advice do you have to give to students who are trying to search for what their sound might be?
Yeah. Oh yeah, well, it kind of relates to the Buzzcocks thing, because I I think before I started listening to punk in the Buzzcocks, I thought that to be a songwriter, you had to be this super intelligent poet who, like, was really, I don't know, on another planet or something. And I wasn't that, so I thought I couldn't really write good songs. And then I discovered punk, and it was about the mundane, and it was about everyday life, and it was really relevant, and it really meant a lot, and it was heartfelt. And it would be singing about stuff that maybe had already been sung about before, but it was still good and still new to me. And after that I was like, okay, so I can just be myself. I don't have to pretend to, I don't have to invent this like weird character that I could talk to people about that isn't me. Like, I can just talk about kitchen sink drama and what my friends have been doing. And you know, I think there's a lot of beauty in the mundane. I think people that say they're interesting all the time aren't really very interesting. So yeah, just be true to yourself. You know, if you are like crazy on another planet, poetic, like be it. It's good. Just don't think you have to be something that you're not. I think otherwise it will end up being contrived, you know. So just be yourself.